So people get confused with the evaluation version and the free version. Okay, there are two different things. Okay, so if you run vSphere hypervisor as a standalone, it is always free. Okay, so you can run it always free. So if you go to the products, or maybe like let's talk about the downloads first. I don't know, like too many pages are open, and that might be the reason there is a slowness felt. Okay, so okay, if you look at here, there are multiple sections, right? There are free product trials and demos. So that is different from free product downloads. Okay, so this section, which has got the vSphere hypervisor, is nothing but your ESX hypervisor. So vSphere is the brand or the suite name for your VMware products like the ESXi, vCenter, and then the sub-components that forms the vCenter, like the VMware ESXi products. They are all labeled as vSphere hypervisor. So if you download this product is always free. And yeah, even the converter, if you want to do a physical to virtual conversion, or if you want to do a virtual to virtual migration, so this converter comes as a free product. Again, there are couple of versions to it. Okay, so there are free versions, and also we have a licensed version for it. And you also have the workstation player, and also you can download the remote console. So VMRC is to manage your ESXi environment. Like it will be a downloaded client where you can control like your remote desktop. Similar to your remote desktop, you can also control the environment or the virtual machines using remote console. We'll see how to install this and manage this. Also the software manager. So these products are free downloadable. Okay, and if you go to this location, you also see similar products, right? vSphere again, and then you're seeing Horizon for virtual machine, VDI, and then the virtual SAN. So these are all like you can use it for 60 days for free, and then after that you might have to license it if you want to continue to use it. Okay, and if you go to the product downloads, this provides you the complete list of what their offerings are. So our class is more concerned towards vSphere. We'll also discuss on vSAN to a certain extent. Also, we will have some discussion on Tanzu and those latest technologies, right? We will have a discussion on those at the very end. Okay, so we'll have a session on NSX for a day, and we'll have a session on vSAN for a day. We'll have a session on Tanzu for a day. Okay, we'll have that sessions later. But for our session, like ESX and vCenter are the most important thing that we are focused toward, the vSphere. So as I said, you have an option to download a free version of it. So you can use it as a standalone product. But then if you want to use it in a production environment, so you have to join it to the vCenter, and that is when you talk about licensing and those stuff. Okay, so you have to create either you can use a corporate account, or you can use a self or like a personal account like Gmail and those things to log in and download these products. So you can download and make use of it. And when you go for corporate logins, you might have much better options, like you will be given trial license and something like that. So that will help you to play around a lot of things. Okay, so download this stuff and then play around. So that is how you can learn it much quicker. Okay, so let's continue with our session. Okay, so we were discussing on the command line tools, right? So as I said, even though there are multiple tools available to manage your ESXi operating system or ESXi host, the only tool that will be staying for long is the ESXi. So whatever commands we played around on that day, like ESXi system, memory, CPU, and those commands, you have to be familiar with. Okay, practice on that. Let us also use some commands whenever possible during our sessions. Okay, so that we get to know different commands in parallel. Okay, but you have to be you don't have to memorize things. Okay, at least like you have to run twice or thrice in your environment so that you get to understand what exact information we are getting out of different commands, right? So in long run, you might need to get some extract, like for example, people will ask you to get a report of all the PCI list, PCI devices on all the ESXi system. So on that, at that time, so when you're using some PowerShell commands or some external commands, you have to work along with this ESXi. So ESXi is the only command that will directly connect to your ESXi host and then get the information or fetch the information. So external automation tools or external scripts like PowerShell scripts, so those are all going to talk to your ESXi. So you have to understand what exact command will get you the data or the hardware information from the ESXi host, so that they can work in conjunction. Okay, so ESXi is the at the end, that this is the command which is going to help you. Okay, And also we were discussing on what might be the different reasons or causes for PSOD and how to fix them. But then there are some more reasons, I mean some more situations also. For example, when you talk about CPU and memory, we have to talk about NUMA and those things. Okay, so I'll explain what exactly non-uniform memory access is and how that relates to PSOD. So there are some more causes or some more related stuffs which are also might be the reason for your hardware issues. Okay, so these things I have not gone too much deep, because like I have to explain you what exactly NUMA is. These are all some interview questions as well. So that is the reason I have outlined on a very higher level. Okay, so that you get to understand how the PSOD looks like and what are the different information it provides. Okay, and how to overcome that. Okay, so I've given some inputs based on my experience. Now let's continue discussing on the troubleshooting part. Okay, on the ESXi troubleshooting, and then let's talk about licensing at a later time today, and then we'll see how much we can cover. Okay, so today, like there are a lot of issues, a lot of symptoms that you can see in the environment. Like for example, your ESXi host will be unreachable. Okay, so you might find it as not responding on your console. Okay, so it will be unreachable or not responding. And sometimes like it might ESXi host might respond to ping. Okay, but again it won't be but not getting connected via vCenter. Okay, so you might get into such situations. In vCenter, you will find vCenter is the centralized management platform for your VMware environment. So if you have multiple ESXi hosts, you have to use vCenter server to manage all of them. Okay, so sometimes like you will not be able to find your host listed on ESXi host. It might be like stating like not responding and those things. And VMs running on your ESXi host might be also having issues, might be unreachable. Okay, so let us try and articulate like what are the different things. Okay, so maybe ESXi host will be working, VMs will be working. Okay, but vCenter alone will say like it is not responding. So not responding is the word that you will find very often on the console. Okay, and sometimes like when you press the alt F11 or alt F12 or alt F1, the function keys will not perform. Okay, function keys, maybe I'll say not F12 keys, like function keys to toggle around between your shell mode and terminal mode, configuration mode. We were talking about 4 different modes, right? So function key will not switch between different modes. Okay, so that is also a issue. Okay, so we generally get that also. So generally like it might be because of what are the different reasons you might think. So these are all some common symptoms. Okay, these are all not issues actually, these are all symptoms. And what might be the common cause actually for these? Any idea? Have you seen any issues because of which you have seen this issue? Like some of you are already having access to VMware environment, right?
I can say first cause is the communication issue, kind of
Okay,
the
network
DNS
communication
or
issue.
network.
uh,
Yeah,
Okay, network communication issue. Okay, so it might be because of your DNS resolution, name resolution. Okay, good. Okay, what else?
Service might have
Okay,
been stopped.
services might have got stopped. Very good. So, like for example, your management network might have got misconfigured. Services might have uh, got into problem. Correct. Okay. So it is like your ESXi management service, or you can say your ESXi management network might have got disturbed. So they might have changed the IP address or changed the network settings. So that might be the reason as well. Yeah. And there are chances it might be because of the defective hardware, right? So it might be because of the defective hardware, or it might be because of the unresponsive hardware. Yeah. So what else?
And if resources are fully occupied, like in data store, the storage is full, there might be chances like it will go to
Yeah,
suspended state.
capacity issues. Correct, capacity issues. So when we say capacity issues, mainly because of storage, but capacity issues might be at the memory and those levels also. But yeah, that is true. And there are a couple of more important things. So they call it as operational busy loop. Okay, so sometimes your ESXi hardware, it becomes busy. Okay, for example, like it will be running in loops. Some of your driver, latest installed driver, okay, that driver module or service console, okay, will be completely using your hardware for VM kernel alone. So it will not be allowing anything for the virtual machines to run, or like they call it as operational busy loop. Okay, so this also happens sometimes in your environment. And also sometimes, okay, so ESXi, it creates a lock on some of the components. Okay, so we can identify that in some of the log files. Okay, so yeah, it also creates some component logs. People call it as component lock. Okay, some of the component might get locked, and that might be the reason for ESXi showing it not responding. Okay, and as Surya said, like it might be because of the capacity issues, or it might be consuming high amount of resources. Like when I say resources, it's generally I'm referring to memory or network. So anything, right? It can be CPU and those things also. But CPU technology is way ahead. Okay, so CPU is not a regular cause of capacity issues in any of the environment, because like CPU is, it's like their technology is way ahead, and then we don't have systems to fully utilize the CPU these days. Okay, so yeah, memory might be the bottleneck, and the network, and obviously like if your data store is full, or if your backend storage is full, obviously that will also be one of the reason. Okay, yeah. So what are the other causes? Any other reason you feel that has to be discussed? Okay, so how do you start your troubleshooting? So I have got a ESXi hardware. Okay, and see, there are different things, right? So causes, if it is like only one occurrence, okay, issue has only occurred only once. Okay, so let's see, issue has occurred only once, and obviously we will not have conclusive evidence, right? So we cannot conclude that this is the stuff because of which we have issues. And also like issue is recurrent, that is also one more challenging, right? So we cannot find, because like it is happening multiple occurrence, and we don't know like what is the reason, and we are not able to get uh, required evidence. Okay, conclusive evidence is not available on the first case, whereas in the second case, since it is frequently occurring, like the pattern is repeating again and again, so we will not have required evidence to troubleshoot it. Okay, but again the logs also, it might get generated. Okay, so sometimes like because of the issues happening and again, so the logs might not get written fully. Okay, that is what I'm saying here. The required evidence will not be getting populated fully. So it will start populating, but that by the time like the machine get restarted, and then the log files is incomplete, something like that. So there are two challenges. Okay, whenever like issue is happening only once and stuff, like that is again a problem. And again, if it is happening again and again, it is recurrent, and there are things happening multiple times, okay, that is also challenging, because the log files will not be complete. So but again, if it is like happening at a particular period, or if it is happening at a particular time of a day, so that is easy to understand, right? If you have some trend, we can do a trend analysis and then identify, okay, this is what is happening at that time, and you can also identify a pattern, and so that you will be able to troubleshoot it. But again, if it is like repeatedly happening without the log files getting generated, or if it is happening only once, then we actually have to spend a lot of time in troubleshooting. Okay, but yeah, anyway, so let's start with assume that my ESXi is an unresponsive or not responding state. Okay, or not responding state. So what is the first thing you will do? So I might start from very pretty basics. Okay, but still like let's see. Yeah,
Ping or communication.
yeah, ping and those things, right? But again, from my view, okay, you have to do the hardware checks first. Okay, the very first thing should be, I mean, that is true, the communication is always needed. Okay, so we already said that, right? So we talked about network communication stuff. So you have to so what is the reason you press numlock and those things on your keyboard? Any idea? Like you guys are from the hardware background, right? So what is the reason like you are pressing like numlock on your keyboard, and why
To
do we check
check
for the
the
right?
system is responding, or is any
Correct.
hang state. Yeah.
Yeah, to be precise, okay, so numlock press is actually to test the bias, actually, if bias is responding or not. Okay, that is the reason we are checking it. Like this is very pretty too much basics, but still, like I just want to say, like whether it is responding or responsive, as you said. Okay, so the light indication. Okay, if it is turning, if it is lighting on and then off, then that means like your BIOS is responding. The very first thing you have to check on the hardware issue, like the BIOS check or the hardware check. Okay, so then the next thing is you have to check the network. As he said, you have to check the egress traffic from the hardware, from the ESXi host. You have to log in and then check whether the gateway is reachable, okay, whether the DNS is resolvable, whether the DNS server is resolvable or reachable, and then DNS resolution. Okay, these things have to be checked on the outbound from your ESXi host, and that will help you some evidence, like whether there is some upstream traffic going on or something like that. So when I say egress, it is outbound check. Actually, outbound is nothing but egress. So outbound traffic check, okay, or they call it as upstream traffic check. Okay, the next one is you might have seen a lot of issues. So whenever you are not able to manage it, you will not be able to take remote, like SSH will not be available, and then those things will not be available. So ESXi shell or DCUI will not be available. So how do you log in and check? Actually, what is the option you have to check the hardware?
So remote console we can use
Yeah,
that.
remote console, right? So when I say remote console, we are talking about the BMC or the baseboard management controller. Okay, so some people get confused with this term because there is something called a baseboard controller manager in some of the recent hardware, but I'm referring to the remote card, as you guys said. Okay, so like your ILO for HP ILO or HPE ILO, your Dell DRAC, okay, and IBM RSA. So I'm referring to those things. Okay, your IAM in Lenovo hardware. So these are the different things I'm referring to. Okay, you have to log in and verify via those RSA card or the Dell DRAC or the HP ILO, and then see what exactly is the situation there, why it is showing unresponsive. So you will have some evidence, like it might be like PSOD or some different evidence can be found there. Okay, even you can check your what to say, like ILO related logs, IML logs, they call it as IML logs. Okay, integrated management logs on your ILO, and then similar logs. Okay, you can also check if there is something that is there on the hardware. Okay, what else? Sometimes, okay, in my experience, let me share some things. Okay, so I have seen a lot of not responding issues because of the DNS name resolution. Okay, so in that time, like what I generally do is I go and clear the DNS cache. Okay, so to do the DNS clear cache, there is a service. Okay, so in everything here in Linux, you can, sorry, in ESX generally, or Linux, we use service command, right? Also you can directly use /etc/init initialization.d daemon. Okay, that is where all the services hit, and on under that you have something called nscd. Okay, so this is the service that that I generally restart to clear the cache. In Windows, you do a ipconfig/flush dns or something like that, right? Or dns cmd/clear cache. So there are some commands in Windows also where we go and clear the cache, so that it avoids some stale entries or some old entries. Okay, so DNS, like ESXi, what it does is in order to reach to some systems, like it manipulates, or it populates the files, like so similar to your Windows, right? You have a lot of files like the hosts file, the resolve.conf file. So these files get populated with some entries in order to avoid some traffic going out or going out to the systems. So yeah, I'll also say one more thing little later. So even if your system is part of HA, there is some more different files you have to check. If it is HA, like you have to check 1 minute, sorry guys. Okay, so you have to check etc/ft underscore hosts file. Okay, so that is little different. Okay, so I'll talk about this when we talk about fault tolerance, but I'll just mention it here so that you don't forget it. Okay, so host file, result.conf file, every configuration is under etc, right? So etc/host, etc/result.conf, and then sometime, like if you are working on a older version of ESXi, you might also need to check the sysconfig file, right, under network. I mean, sorry, under sysconfig, the network file. Okay, so these are all something. So clearing a DNS cache have avoided some issues in my past. Okay, so if it is like evident that it is because of hardware issue, then there are some tools. Okay, so what I do is, okay, there are some burn test, they call it as burn test. Okay, but in order to run the complete hardware test, okay, you have to take the ESXi hardware, like it might be Dell hardware or HP hardware. Sometimes it runs 24 hours to 48 hours. You have to plan it in such a way like your ESXi host will not be available for 28 to 48 hours. Like because of this, like your virtual machine is not going to go down because your virtual machines will be running on any other available ESXi host. But if you want to do a complete hardware test provided by the vendor on the CD or whatever ISO it came with the server, you can run a complete hardware check, so that it takes like 24 to 48 hours. Okay, and also if you feel like it is because of memory, then there is some alternate options. I can show you that. Okay, you can go to memtest.org. I'm not sure how many of you have used this. Okay, there is a tool called memtest. Okay, this is an organization that provides for different hardware. Okay, you can download this zip file. They generally provide it as a gun zip file or a zip file. Okay, you can download this exe, and then see it is they update very frequently. Okay, and then you can download it, and then you can run a lot of things. So it will check a different processor, different memory things, and then NUMA settings. Okay, a lot of things it will check, and then it will tell you what exactly is the problem. It will provide you an export also. Okay, so different processor, different things you have to download. But sometimes like the vendor themselves provide it. Okay, so like HP and Dell, those are, they also provide a similar tool. But memtest is specifically check the memory related issues. Okay, generally we download it, we burn it into a CD, and then we actually wait until pass 2 happens in the memory. So there are multiple stages this particular utility runs. Okay, so until it passes stage 2, even it will come to the stage 2, it might take 1 hour or 2 hours depending on the size of memory it has to check. If you are having like 2 TB and 3 TB of memory, it might run for a hour. Okay, but if in case you are having 8 TB and 12 TB of memory, it might run for 6 hours and more than that. Okay, so memtest.org, go and download the appropriate image or ISO file, and then burn it into a CD, or just you can map it through the ILO and then run it. Okay, so memtest.org site will provide you a good tool of our memory. And then similarly, if you want to identify if your CPU is having issues, some people might have recently upgraded, it will work actually, like your ESXi will get installed. That doesn't mean that your hardware is supported for VMware. Even my hardware at home, it supports installation of ESXi. That doesn't mean it is compatible as per VMware. So there might be some bugs, there might be some issues, okay, which we have to identify using the CPU identification utility. Okay, so you have to, this is actually from the VMware. So if you go to VMware shared utilities, so I'll just directly go to CPU identification utility. So I have to close a lot of things. Okay, so too many things are open in my PC. So there is some issues happening with the response. Okay. Okay, so there is a free tool. Okay, so VMware provides a free tool which is called CPU identification utility. You can download from the shared utilities login. Okay, so that will help you to identify if your CPU is having any known issues. The reason I say that, VMware has the habit of deprecating certain support for CPU version. For example, the latest version vSphere 7, it supports like Intel Savvy Bridge, and then Nehalem and some more process. Let me show you that 1 minute. Okay, CPU is having issues or compatibility issues and something like that. So this is a very good tool from VMware. But again, see, not everyone is going to use this. Okay, so the L1 L2 guys, don't get too much deep into this problem. So these are all kind of L3 and SME level guys who use these tools to verify your environment. But I mean, it is not they are the one who has to do it, but yeah, I'm just telling. Okay, so I'll okay, here it is, right? So if you go to the support, okay, so Intel processor identification utility. Okay, let me go directly to other side. So vSphere 7. So as I said the other day, the very first thing is you have to check the compatibility matrix, right? So I'll show that. Before that, vSphere 7. supported CPU model. Okay, so see unsupported. Okay, VMware compatibility guide. Okay, so let's go into this. So they will remove support for certain processor, like they will remove Intel Xenon or Intel whatever, like see Optron. There are too many processor models or series from different vendors. Okay, they will actually remove it. There is a matrix. Okay, so let me, oh, here it is, right? So this one. Okay, let me check that 1 second. Let me see if there is a good matrix available. Okay, this is all some third-party sites, but still, like, let's see. So this is like latest, right? So ESXi 7. That is a very good matrix. We can check actually. So not this. Okay, let me go back. There is a table, okay, tabular format, which you can easily identify. Maybe let me check for any matrix. Similar to this, okay? Similar to this. So you have to be a little bit due diligent to identify before upgrading. You have to verify, cross check on the hardware compatibility, whether your processor, Skylake processor is supported on the latest version. See, if you look at here, Skylake is not supported on 6.0. You might find issues peculiar on your Skylake processor on the scale-up nodes. And sometimes like you will find issues with your 6.7. So for example, on the Haswell. So that is the reason I just want to make sure you guys are understanding that certain CPU models or CPU series like VMware deprecates or they remove it from support. Okay. 1 minute, guys. Let me attend that and come back. 1 second. Sorry about it. Sorry, guys. So I had my father to attend a friend's marriage, so he was stuck, like he did not have the invitation in hand, so I had to support him. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so you can see like which processor models are supported and those things per each and every version. So okay, if you are going to install it on AMD Optron 2300 series, you have to check whether 6.7 and 7 are supported. You can look at here. So only it supports up to 6.5. Some hardware it will allow you to install it. Okay, that is the challenge. Okay, so it doesn't mean like if you're able to install it, that doesn't mean VMware supports it. Okay, so you have to get into the compatibility matrix, or HCL they call, okay, hardware compatibility guide or hardware compatibility matrix, and you have to cross validate it before you are planning for an upgrade. Very basic thing. Before installing ESXi, before upgrading ESXi, before migrating anything to a particular hardware, you have to validate this without thing. You have to raise a risk register with the company you are working for, or you have to tell the company customer, end customer, whoever is the IT contact. Okay, you have to tell them that there is a known issue or it is not supported and stuff, so that they are well aware, or they are kept informed about the compatibility stuff. Okay, so this one is specifically to identify any issues, but what I was telling is you have to also check the hardware compatibility matrix. You guys are following me, right? You guys are able to listen to me, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Connect.
Okay. Okay, then. So the next thing is we also check certain things, right? The ping test and then the name resolution. So those things are pretty basics, and you have to do a name resolution. Okay, ping test and those things we have to check. Okay, at the end, like many of you are from Windows background, right? You have to give it a reboot of your ESXi. That is the last resort. But because like if you reboot it, a lot of things might get cleaned up, so you might not be able to identify the actual root cause. Okay, so what are the other things, like any other things you have in mind? Okay, so we have checked the memory, you have complete hardware test, you have the CPU thing, you have checked the compatibility matrix, you have checked the remote login, and then you are verifying the logs. Okay, so there has been occurrences where I have been put into a troubleshooting thing where I'll be seeing only one ESXi host out of the cluster, or one or two ESXi host out of the cluster might be seeing issues. Okay, so at that time you have to do a reverse analogy, or like you have to think about this issue in a different way. Okay, so let me ask you list some questions so that it will help you. Okay, this is the question that I generally ask myself to identify the root cause. Okay, so how many times the issue has happened? Okay, maybe like how many times ESXi experienced the same issue or a condition. Okay, you cannot know like what is the issue, right? So we'll say condition, or else like what is the trend. Okay, or what is the pattern you are seeing, like whether it is occurring in the morning or whether it is occurring at a particular time. Okay, and you have to find out the unresponsive dates and times. Okay, this will help you with problem management. Okay, so that it helps you with trend analysis and problem management, or pattern analysis. And then we have to check how many hosts are experiencing issues. Okay, so that we can identify what is the pattern, like whether that particular hosts alone is having some different configuration or a different driver or firmware or BIOS level. So you have to identify how many ESXi hosts are experiencing this same issue. Okay, you have to narrow it down, and then you have to identify what has happened in the environment, whether they have replaced some switch ports, or like SFP modules, or whether they have replaced some switches, or whether they have replaced some SAN fabric. Okay, whether they have upgraded any IOS on the switch. Okay, on the network switch. Okay, I've seen a lot of issues. Okay, so that's the reason I'm just telling it. Okay, so I have been put into an issue for 1.5 days where we had a couple of ESXi hosts, and then that was because of the switch level changes that was done. Okay, they have changed the SFE module because of some faulty things on the network switch, and then that did not get configured in the proper VLAN, and then they actually reloaded some configuration, and then that ended up ESXi becoming unresponsive. Okay, we have been troubleshooting in different aspects, we have been re-adding it, we have re-initialized the ESXi thing, we rolled back it. So we tried a lot of things, but again, if you are asking these questions well ahead of time, you will be able to narrow it down. You have to get the information in parallel when you're troubleshooting. You should not be sitting idle, and when sitting alone and then looking at the ESXi alone will not help you. So you have to identify what events have happened, what are the change activities that has happened in your environment at that time of issue. Okay, so you have to get those details from the change management team or the ITSM team who maintains the report. You have to get those report, what has happened, like what is the pattern, what is the trend. Okay, or like you have to identify if there is a scheduled job at that time. So scheduled job might be some backup happening at a particular time, or some antivirus or vulnerability scan happening at a particular time. Okay, there has been instances like even because of this job, some network or SAN fabric has got into issue. Okay, they have got into some they call it as congestion. Okay, network congestion has occurred, and then it has freezed the machine. Okay, even though the vulnerability and antivirus, it is mainly for your virtual machines running on top of it, but that has in fact impacted the ESXi host in some of the cases. Okay, and also the regular thing you have to check, right? Your ESXi top, similar to your top command or your performance manager, you have to check whether which processes are using more CPU, okay, and then more memory. So those kind of regular troubleshooting also you have to do. Okay, so these are the general question, or 5 to 6 question that you have to check whether your machine is reachable on the network. Okay, so whether your system is reachable on all different interfaces. Okay, and you also have to check not just the LAN interface. Okay, you have to check whether you are able to add you can do a SAN data store also, check also. Okay, you can check adding some data store and then removing a temporary data, so you can work with the SAN team to validate that also. Maybe like you can confirm whether your SAN fabric is working fine or not, because sometimes like your ESXi will be working and you will be having like SAN switch connectivity issues or data store issues. Your virtual machines will not be working properly. It will be having some kind of issues and bottlenecks and congestion. So you have to check both LAN and SAN always. Okay, so these are the general questions that I generally ask when I start with the troubleshooting. Okay, so that I can just narrow it down, because we can say like we can identify a pattern, like you can just group them. For example, out of the 20 node cluster, 3 of them are having issues, our other 17 are okay. So now we have only 3 hosts to identify. We have to check, we have to get the report using the ESXi like command. What are the different firmware bias level, what are the drivers installed on those things, what is the number of VMs running on those hosts. Okay, so at the time of issue, so we have to get some pattern analysis and then identify what exactly is different from the other host here. That is how we have to start the issue, and then we have to identify the exact time and date when it became unresponsive, whether at that time some other host also had the similar issue. You have to identify the ILO log or the IML log and go through the whatever possible logs in the system. We discussed about the sys log and VM kernel.log and then the sysboot log. We discussed about that VOBD log, right? So you have to check those log files and then identify if there is some issue. Okay, you have to get all the details from the ITSM team. What happened, whether any activities are happening, so that troubleshooting is one side, and also you have to keep your leadership team or your customer or your client informed on what is happening. So you have to validate, like you have to tell them that no other change activities has happened at that time of issue. So you have to tell them what you are finding. So you have to tell them like backup jobs have not run at that time, so there is no other external activities. You have to keep them informed what you are doing, like what troubleshooting methods you are taking. You can take a screenshot of the ESXi top stating that there is no CPU high utilization, memory is fine, there is no capacity issues. Okay, so you have to start doing troubleshooting and then keep them informed. So people are expecting you to stay informed. They are not asking you to troubleshoot and get back the ESXi immediately, because ESXi host is not a direct impact for the customer, but still it does make a performance degradation. So obviously you have to keep them informed, your lead or whatever, like whoever is waiting for an update, you have to keep them updated whatever your finding is, so that even the other shift engineer, whoever is going to take it over, they will identify, they will not duplicate the work that you have done. Okay, so that you take some report, you have to find out like what are the times it became unresponsive, make it into a table and then add it into the email. Okay, add it into the ticket which you are working, so that it gets some other engineer, like they might view this issue in a different way. Okay, so this is how I generally work. Okay, so I just ask questions on myself and then I tend to get some reports on whatever I feel appropriate, and then I document it. Okay, so documentation is very very important. So you might see something and then you leave it there. Okay, it should not be the case, right? You should document whatever your finding is. You have to put it into the ticket, or you have to put it into an email chain, so that the other engineer who is going to continue the issue, they will work on it. So ESXi top, okay, there are couple of things. Okay, so you can run it at a particular point in time, or you can run it as a batch process also. Okay, that is something I'll show you. Okay, ESXi top can be run in a batch process. When you are running like just ESXi top, it will run for even it was there in top also. Okay, top is for your Linux actually. Okay, you can run a top-bc like batch process with some time delay and then those things. Okay, so you can set a delay, you can set number of iteration it has to run. Okay, so you can run it as a batch process also. Okay, and you can export it into a text file. Okay, ESXi top, you can run it in a batch file. Okay, but again I think the switch is like -b, not bc like your in Linux it is bc, but in ESX it is just b. And then you can set a delay in your Okay, how much time it want to run, like the iterations you have, you can mention how much iteration you want, number of iterations. And then in ESXi, the very good thing is you can export it, you can redirect the output into a CSV file, so that this CSV file can be read in your performance monitor in Windows. Okay, so that is the big advantage of the ESXi top. You can export it into a CSV file, and then you can read it in the performance monitor thing on your Windows itself. So that is a good thing that it provides. Okay, so the CSV format, it is compatible with your performance monitoring tool. The performance statistics that you are getting out of so whatever the ESX top is providing is it's going to provide you performance statistics, right? So let me just, okay, so communication, okay, you have to communicate with your team. Okay, you have to document the evidence. Some people have the habit of just looking into something and then switch into other things. So whatever you are seeing, like, document it, so that you can use it. As some people will ask you question, whether you check memory, or whether you check the network, or whether you ping the DNS, or whether you, okay, if you document it, they will not have question to ask you. Okay, they cannot cross integrate you, or they cannot do a interrogation in such a way that you might feel like you missed something or something like that. So document it, okay, and this will help you to provide what exactly is happening on your VM kernel world. So what are the different world in ESX or any Linux operating system? Guys, I
User
generally
world and
expect
system
some
world.
answer.
User world
User,
and the
yeah,
system world.
yeah, user world and system world. System world is your VM kernel world. Okay, any operating system that has got two world, user world and system world. System world here is VM kernel world. It will tell you like what exactly is happening in your VM kernel world. At the end, you have to also check the capacity. Okay, as Surya said, that also has caused a lot of issues in my experience. Okay, the data store might be full, and then it is very rare that the ESXi partitioning will get into trouble. Okay, but again, whatever Ila asked is a valid question only. Okay, so data store capacity has to be checked. Okay, also the ESXi partitions, some partitions might run full. Okay, but again, that is a very rare thing. Okay, I have never very rarely have seen that. But yeah, that you should not eliminate that doubt. Okay, so you have to check whether there is any capacity issues on the ESXi partitions, and whatever on the data store where the VM is running. Okay, yeah, the ESXi top. Okay, one more important point is that you can also run it from a remote machine also. You don't have to log into that. There is some command called resxi top. Okay, so remote ESX top, you can run from a different host. You can use the power CLI, or you can use the remote SSH session to run the resxi top. I think there was some one more tool that was available. Okay, so vSphere management assistant. I'm not sure if that is there still on vSphere 7 version. Let me check and confirm on that. So we, in some of the environment that I'm working, they also use this VMA. Okay, so this is an appliance where it comes from VMware. It is a separate downloadable OVF file. Okay, you can deploy this machine for troubleshooting. Okay, so this is mainly for performance troubleshooting and those things. You can download this tool and install it on your environment and use it actually. Okay, so that is some of the uh, companies are using this VMA. Many of my accounts which was legacy, like they, since they are using version 3, 4 and 5, I used to see like they always had this tool for troubleshooting purpose. Okay guys, I might have missed something. Okay, so any other important points? You guys might have seen some issues like Prasad,
So
Dheerana, so
couple of
you guys
things,
are into the, yeah,
couple of things.
yeah,
Understanding. So when we are doing vMotion
yeah,
or the when the snapshots are getting locked and not releasing it, and
yeah,
file lock of VM,
yeah,
uh, and when you are booting the ESX and it is not turning up.
okay.
So such cases, how to
Okay,
troubleshoot?
so see, there are, I mean, I'm just talking about ESXi troubleshooting here. You are getting into virtual machine and then vCenter, those things. I have not gone into that topic yet. Okay, there are a lot of other things which you have to discuss. Okay, so NUMA settings, memory handling, CPU handling. You have to first get into that topic. Okay, after that, we can discuss about virtual machine troubleshooting, and then vSphere troubleshooting, or vCenter troubleshooting, update manager troubleshooting. This is like we have just started ESXi, and we are talking about ESXi related thing, your ESXi host, the more core fundamental unit of your VMware platform is your ESXi host. We are talking about how to troubleshoot an ESXi host issue. Okay, so I understand like there might be some VM log happening, there might be some snapshot that is happening. So I have to tell you guys what exactly is snapshot. Last Sunday I took 2 hour session for the weekend batch just on the snapshot alone. Okay, so that I have to tell you like what exactly is happening. I have to tell them, then I can relate what exactly might be the issue and those things. Okay, yeah, you stay tuned for that, Ila. Okay, for now let's see what exactly is the
So
ESXi issue. I thought you are helping me with some additional point. Okay,
no, no.
okay, yeah,
Actually, one more
uh,
thing.
yeah.
Do we have any normal mode or maintenance mode in this
Hmm.
ESXi?
Correct, correct. Yeah. So we have to take the system into maintenance mode whenever you are doing some maintenance activities like patching or whatever it is. Like, yeah. So there is a thing called maintenance mode in ESXi. You have to definitely put the server into maintenance mode when you want to do any patching or maintenance activities. Yeah. So I'll come to that at a later time. I'll show you how to put the ESX into maintenance mode and then how to do it. Okay. So one more important thing that I can tell is, okay, so I showed you how to generate a support bundle, right? So VM support also on the ESXi on the manage option, you have an option to generate the complete system bundle. So that option is also good. But on top of
Yes.
that, if you want to generate specific VM support-yes, so this will help you to collect, okay, performance statistics, okay, performance statistics. But the problem is you have to rely upon VMware tech support team. Okay, so it will provide you system information, it will provide you log information. Okay, so all these required information for troubleshooting will be getting exported using this -s switch. But the problem is sometimes like the tech support team from the VMware themselves have to be involved, because some utilities they have to read it even in a much better way. But again, so you can run it and have it ready. You can also open these files in a notepad plus plus, and then it will help you with some data. But yeah, so instead of running just VMware-support, you can run VM-support-yes. Okay, that will help you to do it. And also you have to check by logging into the hardware directly, as I said, right? So these are all some questions that you have to ask yourself. Okay, and at the end you can continue your troubleshooting by logging into the physical console and those things and stuff. Okay, so yeah. So any questions, team, on what I have covered? Okay, I know like there are some more areas which we can dig
One more
deeper.
thing.
And yeah,
A couple of questions. So
yeah,
you said that memtest.org, with that
hmm,
you can able to
yeah,
identify. So
right,
is that approved for? I mean, normally
yeah,
will the companies approve the third party, or
correct.
how about
See,
it?
yeah, it does approve. Okay, it is a approved tool. It's a known tool like that helps you with some lot of troubleshooting. But as I said, mem test is not. It's not like it. It's like it is a separate download available just for testing the memory. There are some tools from vendor like HP and Dell and those guys. They provide a complete set of utility testing tool that provides complete burn test. Okay, when I say burn test, it will check everything. Okay, so, starting from your serial parallel console and then memory, CPU, whatever hardware component you have, it will check everything, including the BIOS and those things. So it takes 24 hours to 48 hours is what I said, right? So you cannot wait for that long, or sometimes you want to get to the specifics of the issue, right? CPU identification utility will help you to identify whether your CPU has some known issues or compatibility issues, or it will identify and tell you what exactly is the problem with your CPU thing. And similarly, like memtest will help you to narrow down your issue to the memory alone. You might, I mean, some issues like you will get some clue. Okay, so it will be showing you some memory related errors on your log files. So you will get to understand that it is because of a particular hardware component, so that you can also use the troubleshooting tools directly that helps you to get more details on that specific component. If it is telling like you have to replace the dim slots, or if you have to replace the memory stuff and those things, so yeah, you can actually get directly into it. This is an approved tool. Okay, so many organizations have personally used this. Okay, it's a very good tool to play around. Okay, so it gives a lot of knowledge as well. Okay, on top of that, yeah, if there is any question, yeah, go ahead, Ila.
So one more thing is that you have shown the downloads, right? Where to
Yeah,
download the evaluation and corporate.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
remember when we have been discussing initial phases that you
Uh-huh.
said that for HP servers we have a separate
Ah,
ISO, and Dell
okay.
we have a separate ISO. Can you
Right.
show that?
So, yeah, 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 sure, sure. So go to the downloads. Okay. Okay, go to vSphere. So go to, for example, go to drivers and tools. For example, here you have something called custom ISO. Okay, you guys are seeing my Edge browser, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. On the custom ISO, you can see like OEM, original equipment manufacturer, like for Lenovo hardware, like for HP hardware, like Hitachi. Okay, you have to use this specific download. They actually very frequently provide a latest release. Okay, some providers like HP and Dell, they are like very frequent providers. Every month or every week, sometimes like once in 2 weeks, bi-weekly, they provide a latest download. Okay, if you use this original equipment manufacturer ISO, you don't have to do a lot of additional tools. It also comes with some utility also, like your memory test and burning test. You can it also has some these are all like image builder customized ISOs which you can use for downloads. Okay, and also you have specific drivers and stuffs for your OEM, original equipment manufacturer. Okay, some additional add-on for your Lenovo server, and that will have some troubleshooting utilities also. Okay, like you for your HP and things, you can download some customized additional add-on that will be for good troubleshooting also. Okay,
Do
so
we
yeah,
have
here
any recommendations, Stanley? Say, for example, my environment
see
is growing big. Initially, I have
see,
bought
it depends,
in
right? See, for example, there are some companies, okay, so they will provide you some benchmark testing, okay. So there might, if you take an organization like IBM or HP, okay, they will have their internal engineering team, okay, or what to say, like they have their benchmarking team. Okay, what they will do is they will help you to test certain things, like they will test ESXi 6.7 on a particular newly released hardware. They will check the image downloaded from the HP or whatever Dell or whoever it is, and then they install it, and then they find if there is a bug, or if they will provide you a lot of guidance. So this is not available for every company, right? If you're working for a non-IT company in US or a non-IT company in Singapore, you might be taking care of the entire environment. You might not have a service provider like organization where you have a lot of engineering support. You might not have it there, but again, yeah, so if you're working for a renowned company or a global service provider, they might have an internal engineering team. They will provide you some benchmarks. They will tell you like whether this hardware has known issues or whether this hardware is approved for installing that vSphere 7. So those kind of inputs you can get from the core engineering team. Okay, so that is available in some organizations, but some organization, what you have to do is you have to have a test machine. You have to have uh, a playing machine where you can install it and then see if there is any issues have coming around on that. So that is how you can do some benchmarking and those things. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. Hello, Ila, I might have blocked you. What is the next
no,
question?
no. The other
Yeah.
question is that can we go for a
Yeah.
combination of HP and Dell service? Was that a
Yeah, so
recommendation?
that is what. Yeah. So in a cluster, I won't say yes. Okay, but again, if the compatibility is there, if the CPU processor model are the same, okay. Whenever you talk about cluster, the basic thing is to have identical systems, right? So you know the basics, right? Even if you deploy a Windows cluster or any cluster, okay, for that matter. So the best practice is to have all of the hardware in the same configuration, same specs, specification, same size, same speed, same everything same, right? So if
Yeah.
something is different, then obviously there are challenges. Okay, I'm not denying that. So nowadays, like VMware has got support for different hardware models and different providers. Okay, it can be put into the same cluster, provided cross compatibility check and then put it into a cluster. But from my experience, it is very rare that I have a different generation, okay, or different provider. For example, some non-IT companies might have a strategy and they might have bought Dell before, and then now they have changed their strategy and then they went to some different provider like Cisco, UCS, or HP, but then still they want to use that old hardware in the cluster. Okay, so there are some rare cases where we have to do some cross compatibility verification, raise a case that whether there is any issues. You have to check some add some one or two hardware before we put into the cluster. Okay, so we have to do some thorough testing. But these days, like, there are some compatibility options available, like enhanced vMotion compatibility for your ESXi host and also for the VM. In vSphere 7, there is a new feature. Okay, so where they have come up with EVC option in virtual machine level. So they have this EVC, enhanced vMotion compatibility or cross processor compatibility on the ESXi host. Okay, it was there before, but again now they have introduced for the virtual machine level also. Okay, those things we can check and use combination of different provider hardware in a cluster, but on a best practice level, don't mix it or don't have different hardware, different providers machine in the same cluster. Okay, so create it a separate cluster and then host some loads into it. 1 minute, guys, let me take some water. So yeah, if there is any other question, you guys can go ahead and ask your question.
Stanley, I'm not sure whether it's a valid question. So as it comes to the clearing a DNS cache and all right. So when the CSXi is not responding, how do we clear that DNS cache and all?
Okay, so that's a good question, right? See, yeah, these things, okay, not everything can be done. Okay, so if you're stuck at the very beginning itself, then you have to stop the troubleshooting there, and then you have to check for any logs on the syslog. So generally, you should not have every log on the same system. So for that, okay, there are some techniques which we can do. Okay, so there are two techniques. Okay, one technique is that you have to have a centralized syslog server. This is the general practice that many major organizations use, but also you have an option to what to say, like, you have the option to redirect your output or the log files to the serial communication port. Okay, that they call it as redirecting to serial port. Okay, so they call it as like serial log redirection concept. Okay, so this is something which you have to do it on the ESXi advanced configuration. You have to do it on the beginning itself. Okay, so you have to enable it. So if you do that, some of the logs will go to the syslog server, and also it will come to the serial log console. You can use it for troubleshooting. So when you boot the ESXi hardware, there are two options. Okay, shift plus O combination. Okay, and there is one more, like, what is the other combination we saw in the other class? When you boot the ESXi operating system, there are two options that comes. Okay, one is the shift plus O. I have not told you that about that, but I have told you about the other option. What is the other option? If you want to roll back the system, what is the combination you use?
I mean, press R for the rollback we
Yeah,
use.
press R, right? Yeah, R for rollback, right? So you press shift plus R, like that is capital R. So I'm saying, like, on the keyboard, using shift means like you are going to get a capital R combination. When I say shift means you are going to get a capital O. So capital O is for configuring or making changes on the configuration settings. Okay, making boot configuration changes or advanced ESXi configuration settings. Okay, R is for rollback, simple as that, like how Surya said, it's for rollback. If you want to roll back from 6.7 to 6.5 or 7 to 6. Okay, so from 7 to 6.7, there is a known challenges, because like the partitioning layout and those things have changed. Okay, so just leave that for now. But again, we are studying more into 6.7. Yeah, from 6.7 to 6.5. Yeah, so you can use this option. So as I said, there is a lot of changes in the partitioning style and those things. So there is a lot of known challenges with 7 to 6.7. Okay, but yeah, so here 6.7 to 6.5 or 6.5 to the earlier version, you can use this. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to get into the serial port or the kind of shift plus O. There are few commands where you can change the configuration to log the serial logs into the serial output. Okay, I'll show you this commands. Okay, how to run this command and enable it in our environment. I'll show you how to debug this output. Okay, so as Beam Ready asked, like, okay, so not always you will get a option to play around, right? You cannot do a DNS cache resolve. So only when you're finding like DNS related issues, you're going to use the DNS cache clearance. So if it is not related to DNS caching and those things, there is no option, or you're not going to do that. So when you are seeing like your name resolution is working and it is showing to some old entries or some stale entries from the DNS server, you can clear your local cache and then try to fix it. Okay, that is only a solution for a particular issue. Okay, but yeah, but if in case your ESXi host is not responding, obviously you have to do whatever troubleshooting, whatever I'm highlighting here, right? So you have to take different approaches for different issues that you're saying. But again, on the very last thing, so the log collection or the log handling is the very important thing. So either you can redirect to a centralized syslog collector, or you can redirect it to a serial console for real-time troubleshooting. Okay, so these are the different things, guys. Okay, let me save it. Okay, so any other questions? So maybe yeah, good.
We didn't have any like generally temperature
I'm not sure your audio is very low, Surya. Like, can you can you come closer to your mic and ask it?
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah,
Generally, from DC and
yeah,
also we'll face some issues, right? Like
right,
in their regular maintenance, they will remove unknowingly some cables
correct.
and temperature, high utilization at the DC and
Exactly. So that is like I have also seen multiple issues like that. See, the people might have disturbed the uh, change activity, right? That is what I said. So we have to look for the change activities. Okay, so whatever has happened on the data center, or if some replacement has happened on the network switch, or some people have worked for some other different hardware related issues. Like some hardware, instead of unplugging on a different hardware in a different rack, they might have unplugged on the ESXi host. That has happened for my account also. Okay, so that is not a like you cannot deny that. So obviously that will also happen, even though you have a better documentation, racking, cabling. So some people do a human error, right? So yeah, so there has been cases like they have disturbed the network, and then they have worked on something else, and they have changed some cabling or some kind of thing on a different hardware, that have loosened the cable on the this hardware. Okay, that has also happened. Okay, so there has been multiple instances, okay, in my experience, network disturbance and then storage connection disturbance. So that will definitely happen. Okay, that is a frequent thing when you are having multiple hardware in a server room kind of. Even the environmental thing. Okay, so some outside calamities or some outside natural disasters have also resulted in bringing some of the ESXi hosts down. Okay, because of the fluctuation or because of some power issues. Okay, it might disturb only selective hardware. Okay, some selective port and those things, that has also happened. Okay, so we cannot eradicate that factor of doubt. Okay, so you have to check then in that aspect also, some network card or some SAN switch connection, some Ethernet connection. You have to get some deeper into it. Okay, so asking question is always good than being silent. You have to ask whatever thing comes into your mind. It might be very rubbish also, it might be very basic also. Ask it, document it. Okay, so that they will not ask you like whether you check the network board or whether you work with the network engineer to validate it, whether you have raised the case with on-site support team. So your hardware is not reachable, you are not able to log into ILO, what you have done next. Okay, they will ask you, right? So you have to log a case with the on-site support team, the data center support team, to go directly to the server hardware and then see what they are having. Like take a screenshot in a mobile and then send it via email. Like whatever things you can do, like whatever thing comes into your mind, do it, action into it. Okay, so without action is what people will be getting upset with you. But if you are doing some actions, you are documenting something based on your experience and based on your level. Okay, that is good actually. Like you might be a L1 guy or L2 guy, but you are thinking in that aspect and getting data, right? So that is the only thing that will help you to get promoted or whatever. Like your troubleshooting approach, your troubleshooting like handover, whatever documentation. Okay, these are all pretty important things on your career cascade. Okay, so yeah, start learning. Okay, so obviously you have to take some help from your senior people and those things. But whatever, like I have given you some guidelines. Okay, this will help you to do some troubleshooting on the ESXi level. Okay, so getting into the other level like vCenter and VM level, there are some more things that I will guide you. But to start with, okay, so these are the things that you generally face in the data center. And also when you attend the interviews, you have to sell yourself. You have to tell that I have worked with the on-site support team to check some switch ports, and then because of some SAN cabling activity, like some of the ESXi went down. Okay, some of the network IOS upgrade, one particular switch port has gone faulty, and then that has become my couple of ESXi host went going down. So you have to cross relate your experience so that the interviewer, whoever is listening to you, will get happy about like you have some troubleshooting experience on ESXi host. Okay, you can be a new fresher to your VMware environment. You might be a new guy. Okay, but again, how you sell you is what is matters, right? So if you're attending interview, relate it. Okay, whatever I'm teaching it's from my experience, but still you can tell this has happened in your environment and in your experience. You have done a trend analysis, you have done a pattern analysis, you have collected different dates and times. Okay, relate it. Okay, tell as if like you have done it. Okay, that is how you can clear the interviews or crack the interviews. Okay, I can just only guide you guys. Okay, so it is up to you guys. I have to step up and then tell that I've faced these many issues or this different issues in my data center. I've worked with the on support games. Okay, I have generated ESXi top using this batch processing. I have generated a VM support hyphen yes. Okay, so I have used the VMA system to log in and then troubleshoot. Okay, that is how you have to relate it. I have checked whether there is any scheduled jobs or something like that. Okay, so whatever information I'm giving it, okay, you have to learn it, you have to relate it, you have to be prepared when you attend the interview. Obviously they are going to ask you a question: what are the different issues you have seen in ESXi host? What are the different measures you take when it goes into not responding, or whatever the system is not reachable? Okay, what are the different approach you take? Okay, you have to start from the pretty basics. Okay, so you have to check the basic hardware check, like as I said, the bias check, right? Pressing the num lock keys, it might be a very numb thing, but again, you have to start with some basics, and then you have to go to advanced level, and then check DNS catching, DNS network connectivity check, whatever at the advanced level. Okay, you guys are following me? You guys are understanding what I'm trying to tell here?
Yes, Ji. Ji, for
Okay.
example, if it is a physical server, like even ILO page also not loading. So
Yeah.
at the time, how we can troubleshoot for
Yeah,
that?
work with the remote support team, right? Like the on-site support team. Okay, so no other option,
On-site
right?
only, right?
So
We have.
yeah, on-site
Yeah.
only. Oh, what is the other option you have? You have to raise a case with on-site support team, your hands and eye support. Okay, so you call it as hands and eye, right? So they are your like whatever
Yeah.
you ask them to do, they will do whatever on the data center. That is the only option. See, if you don't have access to ESX, you don't have access to ILO, nothing can be done. Okay, you have to be directly on the data center. You have to, if it is next to your office, then you can directly go there and check, or else you have to take some hands and eye support or on-site support to validate it. Okay, with that, guys, I have ran over 15 minutes. I thought of taking it for 1 hour. 1 hour, so we are already 7:45. Let's switch topics to other one. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I'm moving over. If there are some questions, like let me know. I can just discuss on it for some more time.
So, last one question, Stanley. Like,
Yeah,
as you said, like, be able to ping this host and right, but not able to take, I mean, like a console and all. So,
Hmm.
how exactly that we can reach?
Correct. So that is the next level, right? So there are three various methods, right? So nothing you can do. Then you have to take the on-site support. Like you are able to reach the system, ping the system, and you have ILO access. You can check via ILO, or when I say ILO, the baseboard management controller. It can be your Dell or DRAC or whatever IMM in your Lenovo or whatever it is. Okay, you have to log in via that and then check the IML log on the ILO, and then ESXi related logs. Also, if there is any PSOD or whatever there is in the console, serial console, that is what you have to check. Also, you have to check on the syslog collection tool, and then that thing you can do. Okay, so next, if you have access, and then if you are um, ILO is working, your everything is available, but still you are seeing some level of troubleshooting, that is when you have to expand your troubleshooting method. You have to talk to network team, you have to talk to SAN support team, you have to talk to any other support teams like backup team or whatever vulnerability team or antivirus team. Okay, you have to check with them if there is something happening at that time, or if something happened at that time, whether they ran some backup or whether they run some housekeeping stuff. Okay, so because of that, might maybe like even if SAN related activities, housekeeping activities might also bring your ESXi into freeze. Okay, there has been instances like that. So your network team might have done some ISO iOS upgrade, and because of that, your ESXi might have got some freeze, because like a lot of packets might have gone into the switch and it might have congested the network, and then your ESXi might have got frozen. Okay, so your ESXi management port will be responding, but then the virtual machine traffic might have got impacted, and then you might have gone to a network congestion, like at the SAN switch level or at the LAN level also. Okay, so there has been some instances like that also. Okay, so yeah, So as I said, step by step, go step by step, ask the question on to yourself, okay, what exactly is happening, what might be the reason, okay, so that just these things you can get answer within a few minutes, right, a matter of 10-20 minutes. And before that, okay, before you get into ESX, make sure your virtual machines are up and running. Don't put your virtual machines down and do all this troubleshooting, okay. uh, First check what are the virtual machines that was running here, and whether that is now actively running on other host. Make sure your virtual machines are up and running. Any troubleshooting on ESX, first thing, like, you have to take care of the business, okay. Business is on the virtual machine, not on your ESXi host, okay. So make sure whatever virtual machine it was running, it is currently running on other host, okay. That is the very pretty basic thing. You have to start that troubleshooting, okay. Okay guys, so let's get into vSphere licensing. Yeah. So, Beam Ready, you are already into VMware environment, or you have not had experience with working with VMware?
No, Stanley. I'm complete
Okay.
into Windows.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay, good, good. But again, now whatever Windows troubleshooting approach, that will help you here also. Okay, this is again an operating system. Okay, whatever experience that you have gained with Windows or Linux or whatever thing, you can relate it here. Okay, so you guys, if I have missed something, see, the class is not just me telling you something and then getting you the knowledge. Even some of you guys are experienced, like Prasad, Iran, all you guys are experienced. Okay, so you have working with the VMware products. You can also tell me, like, this is also something which we do, so that even I will get to know that, or also the other team members who are attending the training, they will also get benefited. Okay, provide your inputs. Don't just listen to me alone. Okay, so it is like, make it an interactive session, give your guidance, okay, so that it mutually gets benefited. Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
any points you guys want to add? Did I miss something from your view, like even from a Windows view also? Okay, so something you might have done for Windows a little different. Okay, so any points, guys? Ila, like, don't be in questioning mode, okay, also be in information sharing mode also. Switch gears, okay. You're there.
Sure, Stanley.
Okay, 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 yeah, okay. So let's get into vSphere licensing. Okay, so let me help you with some different, as I said, there is a free version, okay. And whenever you get into a licensing, there are two aspects to it, okay. So the product licensing is there, and then your support and subscription. Okay, like your Linux, Red Hat, and those things, like, you go for subscriptions, right? So subscription and support. So here there is two licenses, one for your product, and then one for your support and subscription. So I'll ask, like every other hardware, it comes in two variants. Okay, 1 year and 3 year. You can go it for 1 year and 3 year. Okay, so the very basic thing is, okay, let me get into the
This
direct
is
site
vSphere
itself.
licensing, right?
Yeah, vSphere licensing, correct, correct. Okay, I'll just go for the latest one so that I get you the latest information. Okay, so 1 minute, guys. My machine is kind of, I have to restart it, I guess, after this training. Okay. Licensing. Or maybe we'll also look into the pricing also. Okay, that will help you. Okay. Mhm. Sometimes it goes under reusable content. We can download it. Let's check. I've long back downloaded the pricing thing, so I want to download the latest one. Anyways, okay. Did I type something wrong? Okay, let's see. Okay, there are different variants. You don't have to log in. Okay, let me check. 1 second, guys. So the price, I mean, the pricing and then the approach. We are pricing 7. I think I'm typing something wrong here. Okay, see, reusable content, VMware pricing. Okay, so I don't know what I typed. Maybe I typed the vSphere spelling wrongly. Okay, so this is how it is. Okay, So you get two variants, okay, standard variant and the enterprise plus variant. And the standard variant, as you can see, it is very minimal, like less than $1,000. And then the enterprise plus variant is actually 4,000 or 3,600, close to 3,600. Okay, and there are two licensing. Okay, one is the product licensing cost, and then the support and subscription licensing cost. There are two variants again, the basic and the production. I will explain what exactly the difference is. Okay, and if you come here, there are also some more. So I do have the screenshot and documentation, but I want to get you the latest current pricing. Okay, so this is for the remote office and the branch offices. The remote sites also nowadays, like we are using virtualization, and the pricing is little different for that. Okay, so the reason that you see as a higher price, it comes as a bundle. Okay, so it comes like with vCenter, ESXi, and then everything comes as a bundle. Okay, that is the reason you are seeing the higher price here. Okay, even for the essentials you can see a different pricing here. Okay, so that means like it comes as a bundle. It also has vCenter as well as ESXi host, whereas when you look at the top, this is like just specific to your vSphere alone, the ESXi alone. And if you go to the bottom, you will see the vCenter variant also. Okay, also there are some acceleration kit. Okay, I'll just help you guys understand the different
Stanley,
things.
one thing.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
one thing, Stanley. So vSphere is
Yeah.
not a collection of vCenter, ESXi, is
Yeah,
that?
that is
Or
true. That is true. That is true. But again, when it comes to pricing and purchasing, like there will be some confusion, because like they call it as vSphere hypervisor, and vCenter is a separate product, right, as on its own. So sometimes like they sell only the. See, if you look at here, they again selling it as vSphere. It has vCenter as well as ESX in this. Sometimes like they will just say vSphere alone and then standard and something. So that time like it refers to ESXi alone. Yeah, as you said, like there is a confusing aspect to it. So whenever we call it as vSphere, okay, it is a suite. Okay, it's a bundle. Okay, that covers all your thing. It covers your vCenter, it covers your ESXi, and then whatever update manager or whatever component that comes along with it. It covers this product, covers all of this. But still sometimes they refer it as vSphere hypervisor or vSphere edition or something like that. So that sometimes that it refers to the ESXi alone, but vCenter is vCenter. There is no confusion in that. Yeah, so sometimes like they call the ESXi as vSphere hypervisor also. Okay, so
so
whatever.
the
Yeah.
VRA VRO component will come under vSphere suite, or it is a separate component?
No, that is we realize, right? That is we realize product. That is different.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, we realize this comes under VMware Cloud Foundation group. Okay, that is something totally different. But again, when I say cloud term, like I'm referring to the private cloud. Don't get confused with the public cloud offering like Amazon and those things. But I'm referring to the VMware Cloud Foundation on the on-premises side, VMware VCF or something. Okay. So yeah, for your question, yeah, we realize and those things, that is a separate thing. That does not come under the vSphere suite. So vSphere is mainly for your vCenter, ESXi, Lifecycle Manager or Update Manager and those things. Okay, so vSphere hypervisor is your ESXi virtualization layer. Okay, so we have something called RoboSite license. My Excel is not responding. Okay, sorry about it. Okay. Okay, we have remote office things, and we have essentials and essentials plus bundle. Let me check if PowerPoint is working. Okay. So these are the pretty basic thing that we start with. Okay, so whenever a customer is asking, I want to run 20 machines or 25 virtual machine or 10 virtual machines, something like that, and then they want to get the best possible thing, then you can go for the remote or the robo licensing model. Okay, robo licensing is for the remote offices where customer will have a need to run a set of virtual machine, and then they might not have a lot of things. Okay, like a lot of advanced things like SRIOV or like a lot of host profiling or this a lot of advanced things, they might not need it. Even if they need advanced thing, you can go for advanced robo licensing. Okay, so the standard one that does not have the distributed switch, host profiling, and auto deploy. These three things will not be there. in the standard. Okay, whenever you are talking about standard and advanced, these are the three additional things. Okay, distributed switch, host profile, and auto deploy. Rest of the things, it will be the same between standard and advanced. Okay, so this is like you purchase it based on the number of virtual machine. You can run it on 3 different hardware, or you can run it on multiple hardware, but at the end your licensing is restricted to run 25 VMs. Okay, that is the thing. You can run it
So
on one hardware also,
Stanley,
but if you reach, yeah,
one second, Stanley. So
yeah.
say I'm you said that robo office, right? So do the robo office also need a vCenter? I mean, if I'm having
Yeah,
only a standalone ESXi and
sometimes.
I have only some 15 to 20 servers, virtual servers, do I need really need a vCenter on that?
Sometimes, right? So for example, if you want to do some kind of vMotion, or sometimes of what to say, centralized library, or if you want to do some fault tolerance, or if you want to use the host profiling, those are all features of vCenter, right? So obviously you have to have a separate purchase for vCenter. So that is not mandatory. That's what. So for a robo site, vCenter is not mandatory, number one. And if you want to have some kind of vCenter related features on that environment, you have to purchase it separately. Okay, that is the reason I mentioned vCenter is sold separately for robo things. So it is not mandatory for robo sites. But if in case your customer is looking for those features that is coming under the vCenter, obviously you have to go for it. Okay, so that is the basic thing. Okay, and the next one is essential kit. Essential kit is something different. Okay, so here
One
we
more,
talked about
Stanley,
number of,
sorry to disturb you.
yeah.
So I'm having distributed data centers and robo sites. Okay. So can the license be a centralized one, or it should be wherever the ESXi host is hold on, we need to update
Okay,
it there.
so applying decentralized licensing or centralized licensing doesn't matter. Okay, you can either apply the license on the ESXi host, you can apply it on vCenter. At the end, your thing has to be centralized. I mean, your licensing has to be there. Okay, so apply it on vCenter or ESXi host, whatever it is. Like your Windows, right? You can maintain it and apply it from the KMS server, or you can apply it on the Windows OS itself. Okay, so it doesn't make any difference. At the end, your product has to be licensed. Okay, so it can be decentralized licensing, or you can manage it in a centralized tool, whatever it is. So that is like, these are all very common for every operating system, right? So yeah, so you can either manage it decentralized on the ESXi level, or you can apply it from the vCenter also. Yeah, you can do it either ways. So decentralized licensing is also supported, centralized licensing is also supported. Yeah. So yeah, moving on to the essentials thing. Okay, essential is kind of bundled for a number of server. Okay, you can have up to 3 ESXi hosts with 2 processor each. Okay, so it is like a link to your hardware. Here it is like linked to your number of virtual machine. So if you're purchasing this one, you can run a maximum of 25 VMs irrespective of number of the hardware on the back end. You can have 1 server running 25 machines, or 3 server running, or 5 server running virtual machines. So that is like it is limited to 25 VMs. That is the restriction here. So when it comes to essentials and essentials first, it is limited to 3 server with 2 processor. If you're running a big server with a lot of cores and a lot of sockets and a lot of like, again, I mean, not a lot of sockets, because like it is restricted to 2 processor. It can be a lot of 32 core, or it can be 16 core, or whatever it is. So you can run any number of virtual machines. There is no restriction on the number of virtual machine. Okay, so here on the essentials kit, okay, you have features for only the ESXi thing. But if you
Sorry,
go for the essentials,
Stanley, can you go
yeah,
on a presentation mode? It is very slow. I mean, very small.
okay, 1 minute, guys. You might also have the Zoom option. Anyways, I'm just doing it. Okay, yeah. Okay, guys. So yeah, I was talking about the essentials kit, right? So it is restricted to 3 physical systems with 2 processors. 2 processors. Okay, don't forget it. Some people will purchase the DL560 and have 4 processor, and then they will ask why the other 2 processor were not working. Okay, so it has like linking to the essential has got restriction of 2 processors on 3 hardware. Okay, 3 servers with 2 processors is the maximum. Okay, scale out is something different. Like it is mainly for your high performance workload, or the big data, or like machine learning for latest advanced technologies. They have some option called scale out cluster. You can have up to 8 CPU. Okay, so they one particular vSphere scale out license will can be used for 8 up to 8 CPUs. Okay, so these are the separate bundle options that you get. Okay, so I can just relate it to the VMware site here. Okay, I'm talking about Robo Edition, number of virtual machine, essential kit restricted to 3 hardware with 2 processor each, acceleration, that is for your scale out. Okay, so I think these are the 3 different variants, and outside of it you can purchase ESXi separately, you can purchase vCenter separately. I'll guide you how to do that. Okay, so up to version vSphere 6.7, there is no restriction on the core level. Okay, so no restriction on the CPU level, but starting vSphere 7, what they have done is they have started having a benchmark like for every 32 core you have to buy 1 license. So that means if you have 64 core on a particular server hardware, you have to buy 2 licenses, as simple as that. Okay, so now they have made a restriction on the CPU core level in version 7. Okay, as of now, many people might not have gone into that level. Okay, purchasing those things, but yeah, as of now there is no restriction. But obviously, if you are migrating from vSphere 6.7 to 7, obviously you have to check the number of cores, number of licenses, and then you might have to purchase some more additional licenses. That is the major change when it comes to licensing. But in version 6.7, it did not have any restriction on the number of CPU socket or the number of number of core. But again, it had its restriction on the CPU socket. If you're going for multiple CPU socket, you have to purchase separate licenses. But in 7, they have got a restriction on the 32 core also. Okay, that is a major setback. And okay, let me just compare something here.
Stanley, it's a bit confusing. Can you go to that slide? I mean the thing, the PPT.
Yeah, here.
Here you said, here you said that. I mean, vSphere Essential Kits and Essential Plus up to 3 servers, right? 3 servers, 2 processor each. Okay, so does that not come into there? I mean, the picture.
What exactly you are relating there?
No. Go to that Excel sheet.
Okay.
You said that no restriction on CPU level. I mean,
Okay. See, that is what I am just done and dusted with the 3 options which is here. Okay, I'm over with. I mean, this is already discussed and closed. I'm getting into the separate licensing model for your vSphere and vCenter now. Okay, so those 3 options are clear, and there are no questions, is what I assumed, and I am switching gears to the other option. So Robo is separate, like VM level limit. Okay, you can have up to 25 VMs in that license. Okay, and then the next one is Essentials and Essentials Plus. They are restricted to number of 3 hardware. Yeah, 3 physical and with 2 processor. 2 processor each. And the scale out is for something else. Okay, so it's for HPC and machine learning or like Spark machines, like high performance workload. Okay, so we can just still like that. Now these are all kits. Okay, so this is different from whatever we are going to discuss now. Okay, so we can purchase.
The essentials means is it standard?
No, that is different. See, with essentials, you have 2 options here. Okay, so you can purchase vCenter for essentials and vCenter for standard. Okay, so this is always referring to essentials. I'll come to that. I'll come to that in a while. So okay, so if you look at this screen, you can relate it, right? There is something called vCenter Foundation and vCenter Standard. So standard is for data center environment. Foundation is for those bundles and packages. I'll come to that. I'll explain it. Okay, so any questions on this?
Even in essentials also we have the VM level limit.
No, nothing like that. Essentials is limited to 3 physical servers with 2 processor each. You can run 50 also, 100 also, whatever based on your processor and memory and those capacity limit. There is no limit on the virtual machines there. Yeah. Now I'm coming to purchasing ESXi separately, vCenter separately for a data center environment. So these are all even this one can be in the data center, but still like those are all packaged or bundled licensing methods. Okay, but now I'm just going to calculate how many licenses I need for a data center environment for my 100 host or for my 10 host or whatever I have. So I'm just looking out for licensing for specific number of systems. Okay, so this is like any questions here? Shall I move on, Rila?
Talk to you later, Stanley.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so the next one is on the vSphere, vSphere and vSAN. See, guys, I tend to teach you a lot of things. Okay, so I see people with lesser experience. I see people with 15 plus years of experience. So everyone needs their own level of information, right? So obviously, these things, whatever I was talking about, it will be helpful for everyone. But certain things like licensing and those things you might not be getting involved, like senior people, design level people, architects and engineering team, they will be dealing with this licensing. But still, like, you can understand, okay, you can have these things in for your reference in future. Okay, so yeah, at least like try to understand to some extent. You need not get into the pre-sales mode, or you did not get into that level of mindset now itself. But still, I'm just sharing whatever licensing methods are there. These things, even if you attend VMware install, configure and manage, they won't get into this level of discussion. Okay, so I want to share certain things I'm sharing here. Okay, this is not also into your syllabus. If you look into a syllabus, the licensing is not actually need to be discussed. But yeah, I'm just documenting it here so that you can cross refer and then use it. Okay, so that's the thing, that's the objective here. Okay guys, so coming back to the vCenter. Okay, vCenter, it is available in fact, if you look at the current model, it is only 2. In fact, there are 3 actually. Okay, so I'm referring to my previous experience. Okay, so it used to be Essentials, Foundation and Standard. Okay, when it comes to vCenter. So when it comes to vSphere, there is a free hypervisor which you can use it for free, as I showed you during the start of the class. Okay, you can download this for free. And there is this one is also like you have a 60 days evaluation here. Okay, so you can use it for 60 days. Evaluation is available on the licensed version. Okay, you can add the license after 60 days also. Okay, there is no feature differences between these things. Okay, so in vSphere, actually there is a couple of things. Okay, so when you go for talk about vSphere standard and vSphere enterprise plus, there are some minor differences. Let me get you that differences alone for now. Okay, when you talk about vSphere standard and vSphere enterprise plus, okay, there is some minor differences. For example, if you want to have some DRS and distributed switch or like auto deploy, as I said, as I showed you, right, there are very basic 3 things, okay, which always it should come to your mind, like host profile, auto deploy and distributed switch. These are all advanced concept. Okay, so those will not come in your standard thing. Okay, so host profile, auto deploy, standard switch. Okay, so besides this, there are some more thing, right? The profiling and then like there is something called latest in vSphere 7. There are like some persistent memory, quick boot, and a lot of other things have come. I'll explain you guys about what exactly quick boot and then secure boot, those concept. Okay, I don't want to confuse too much with that. But when it comes to vSphere standard and enterprise plus, a lot of concepts like HA, your fault tolerance, vSphere replication, your high availability, vMotion. So those are all pretty much available in both the versions. Okay, so the standard things, like I can just list down something. Okay, for example, your vMotion, your linked mode, vCenter linked mode configuration, your HA, okay, your symmetric multiprocessing, okay, your vSphere replication, okay, so your quick boot option. So I'll just quickly tell what exactly quick boot is so that you don't have that question on your mind on the back end. So in starting with latest version, yeah, your hardware will not get recycled. Okay, will not be recycled. Just your ESXi OS alone will get restarted. Okay, so that I mean, previously, like when you restart a hardware, it will restart, it will start the BIOS, it will initialize the component, it will initialize the hardware. It takes like 15-20 minutes. Nowadays it's a matter of 30 seconds to 1 minute. Okay, so the ESXi operating system alone will get restarted. It won't reinitialize the hardware. But then if you have done something on the hardware level, you have changed something on the hardware level, obviously you have to go for the complete reboot. Okay, so whenever you are doing a patching or whenever you are doing OS level changes, go for a quick boot. Okay, but if in case you have done some changes at the hardware level and you want to reflect that, obviously you have to do a full cycle reboot. Okay, so don't get confused with that. But again, by default, you can enable the quick boot, so we can use it during the patching cycle so that your ESXi host is not going down for a longer time. Okay, so the quick boot option is available in both the things. Okay, so let me push it down. Okay, what else? Any other points I made? Okay, what is HASMP linked mode and then emotion? Yeah, you can use the vSphere backup option. Okay, backup and restore, the vCenter backup and restore, vCenter HA. So these things is pretty much there in both the versions. Okay, both standard and enterprise plus. Even like security things like if you talk about security aspect, trusted platform module, your FIPS compliance. Okay, these are all there in both the versions. Okay, your VM level encryption. I'll explain you guys about these features, but I'm just trying to relate what are the features that might be there and might not be there. Okay, like some virtualization based security, and I said VM level EVC. Okay, so these things, okay, that is there in both the versions. Okay, I'm just listing down. Okay, content library. What are the other features there? Content library, endpoint. Okay, endpoint I missed there. FT. Okay, I'll add those things also. Okay, so when it comes to vMotion, we can also talk about storage vMotion, endpoint. So these are all some different features and components which forms your vSphere. Okay, vSphere, we also have virtual volumes, VSAN. So all these things will work in both standard and enterprise plus. So let me just add some space here. Sorry. Okay, so these things are pretty much there in both your okay. Only thing is the DRS and then your auto deploy, host profile, and then distributed switch. Okay, so here you can use standard switch. 1 minute, guys. My Excel is kind of slowly responding. Okay, so you can have distributed switch. So this is like advanced level switching. We'll get into the discussion like what exactly standard switch, distributed switch, what exactly DRS is, what exactly storage DRS. So those things we'll discuss in details. Okay. So we have separate day sessions for discussing about these topics. Okay. And if you want to have some level of profiling, like if you want to fine tune your network, you want to enable NIOC, or if you want to enable SIOC storage level things, or if you want to use SRIOV. So these kind of advanced features, okay, you can you will get only in enterprise plus or the advanced version of it. Okay, so even like if you want to have some predictive failures, predictive HA, and what else? I think I have covered everything. Okay, so there are some new features in vSphere 7. I'll discuss that a little later. Okay, so something like they have changed the names for update manager and those things. Okay, they have something called lifecycle manager, update planner. So new features have come along with the latest version. Okay, so there are some replacement that has happened in version 7. I'll explain it as and when we discuss that particular topic. Okay, so as of now, whenever we say plus, okay, or advanced, these are the things. Okay, so your network IO control, storage IO control, predictive HA, distributed switch, auto deploy, DRS. Okay, DRS cluster. Okay, so I'm referring to these are all cluster features. Okay, HA is there in both the things. Okay, HA is there, but DRS is not there. So update planner. Okay, just have these things in mind. Okay, these 5 to 6 things. Okay, rest of the things it is there in both standard and whatever enterprise plus. Guys, am I confusing you more, or you're getting the point here? Okay, yeah,
No, you're following.
you're following, right? Okay, 1 minute, let me check. What are other things? Okay, I think I've covered up everything. Let me check. Okay, going into 1 second, guys. The go-to meeting, there are too many options for me here, so that will I have to move those things. Okay, so coming back to the slide. Okay, so we already discussed about pricing. Okay, so whenever you are a engineering guy or a design guy, you have to consider two things in mind. Okay, so one is your product, and you have to have the support and subscription. If you are not renewing the support and subscription, you cannot raise a case with VMware. Okay, so S&S is needed for raising any case with VMware. Some people tend to miss it. They will purchase the product, they will go for 1 year subscription. The next year, following year, they might not have renewed that S&S or support and subscription licensing. So at that time, if you are going for VMware support, they will say, no, you don't have a active support and subscription, and you have to purchase it. Okay, you can buy it for 1 year or 3 year stuff. Okay, so we also have one more option. Okay, where if you want to have some monitoring or operations management suite along with your VMware vSphere product, they call it as OMS. Okay, so you can also purchase that. Okay, so that adds up to like some $1,000 extra dollars. Okay, that is something available until version 6. Okay, and with version 7, they have added it into the cloud foundation thing. Okay, like let's not get into that as of now. Okay, with licensing, okay, did you guys understand the three different options here to start with? These three licensing models. Any doubts in this? Clear,
For a
right?
standard data center, like we have to go with the vSphere Enterprise Plus one, right? Because the vSphere standard we don't have DRS, so it will not recommend for G, right?
Exactly, that is good. A good comparison. Yeah, if in case you want to have storage DRS or DRS, you want to have automatic machine movement, or if you want to have some standardization, or if you want to create distributed switch, whatever options, if customer is looking for these options, you have to tell them that yeah, you have to go for plus version of licensing, so that you have to spend some additional budget here. So if you look at here, there is a huge budget difference, right? So if you are looking for DRS, and then if they really need automated machine movement, they have to spend around $3,100, right? That is like way too much. And if you look at here,
Yeah.
this is like just 67 for the support or subscription only. And here you have to pay $1,000 for the basic, and for the production support, you have to pay 1,200. The costing is something which will make the customer think different. Okay, from the support perspective, you will feel like every environment need DRS, every environment needs standardization, every environment need centralized switches. Okay, so that is like from an operations perspective, you might look for it, but the customer should have the budget to invest in it, right? So you can see the real difference here, right, in the when it comes to the money. But again, for you, Surya and Lakshmi, like you guys are little younger, and you are into L1, L2, L3 level. Okay, that these are all things that has to be dealt by the architect, the pre-sales guys. Okay, those guys deal with the discussion with the customer, but it is not that you have to you don't have to learn it. Yeah, you can learn it and understand it. Yeah, that is okay. So yeah, whatever
Yeah.
you said is right. So if you want to have virtual machine level vMotion, or if you want to have DRS, or if you want to have enhanced DRS, or if you want to have network IO control, storage IO control, okay, so those are all things that that is pretty much there in the okay. So in plus, okay, so maybe I'll list down few points which you might be interested. Okay, so starting with vSphere version 7. Okay, so you have something like enhanced DRS also. Since you mentioned DRS, I just want to tell you that. Okay, so in version 6, until version 6, we have standard DRS. In DRS is nothing but, okay, so I'll just give some hints. Okay, so I'm not talking about the entire topic about it. We'll discuss it very thoroughly about it. Distributed resource scheduler. Okay, so if you have 3 ESXi host, or a cluster of hosts, whenever there is a high utilization on one of the hardware, the vCenter, it will migrate, it will move the virtual machine across the cluster, across the nodes, so that you have a load balanced environment in terms of CPU and memory usage. So that is what the distribution resource scheduler does. Okay, and it will balance the virtual machine load on each of the ESXi host. So in version 7, they have a latest updated version of it. It does some intelligence on the DRS level. Okay, we'll discuss that little later. And also in vSphere version 6.7, they came up with version 1 of something like this. Okay, similar to enhanced DRS, they had something called network aware DRS. Okay, that was something that was newly introduced in version 6.7, and previous to that we had DRS, but these are all some what is it, like some bug or some updated or the version 1 of DRS, and then this one is version 2 of DRS. This one is like version 3 of DRS, you can say. So how I can say that in version vSphere up to version 6.5 we had DRS, and below we had DRS, but it is version 1 of DRS. Okay, it did not have network aware or it did not have enhanced features. Okay, so we can say version 1, this one version 2, version 3. I'm just mentioning that for understanding purpose. Okay, there is nothing like from VMware, they did not call it as version 1, version 2, version 3, but there are some enhancements in each and every release that they are coming up with. Okay, so that is one thing. And I think even what are the like DRS? Yeah, that is the main difference. Lakshmi, Surya, right? Surya asked that question, right? Yeah. So coming to what are the other things here? vMotion. vMotion is available in all three versions. Okay, I said one more thing, right? So enhanced virtual machine vMotion. Okay, in vSphere 6.7 and 7, they have introduced this virtual machine level EVC. Okay, so I'm thinking like I'm adding a lot of new terminologies. We'll again discuss this at a later point of time. As of now, I'm just comparing certain things to make you understand that there are some differences, that there are some new releases or new features that have come up with newer version. Okay, I just want to highlight that. I'm just relating it to something like this. So enhanced vMotion is like as Ila asked, there might be some different processor model, there might be different hardware model, there might be hardware from different vendor also in your cluster, right? So at that time, so your CPU processor might be different. So in the very initial version of the VMware EVC, they brought support for compatibility between different processor model. That is the first thing they brought. And now what they have done is they have brought that compatibility at the virtual machine level. So initially they had that at the host level. Okay, so host level EVC is what they had. Okay, your host will support vMotion between different CPU model or different CPU generation or different CPU series. Okay, but now your virtual machine also have got enhanced vMotion at per virtual machine. Per VM level, you can do a enhanced vMotion. Okay, so that is also there in the latest release. Okay, so previously it was not there. Okay, and this is one major thing that they have introduced. And also I think in version 6.5, when you talk about vMotion, okay, it did not have support for cross vCenter. Okay, if you have linked to a vCenter environment, if you have multiple vCenter, okay, you cannot have a cross vCenter encrypted vMotion. That was not there in version 6.5. Okay, in 6.7, okay, they introduced something that like that. Okay, so they allowed for cross vCenter encrypted vMotion. Okay, your traffic might go across the data center over the internet, so they want to have encryption on your data. Okay, so they are enabled with cross vCenter enhanced encrypted vMotion or encryption. Okay, I'll say encrypted vMotion instead of encryption. Okay, encrypted vMotion option they brought in. So if you have different vCenter in your different data center, like one in Asia, one in Europe, you can also do a vMotion of your virtual machine from one vCenter to another vCenter through the internet link in an encrypted channel. Okay, and a lot of new things have come up, like trusted platform module version 2. Okay, so these are all some new version. Like we had trusted platform module before, but it was like for version 1, and now they have brought something on the security aspect. They have introduced TPM version 2. Even this will have this. Okay, so if 6.7 had it, like 7 will automatically, definitely it will have it. Also there are some new options. I think I had some more points on the slide deck. Let me quickly
We
check.
have that CPU compatibility. It is from 7, or we have it from previous also, because previously we discussed
CPU,
unsupported CPU also we can manage by allowed legacy
yeah,
CPU. We have
yeah,
that one.
CPU compatibility, it is available since beginning. Okay, so with 6.5 and 6.7 also it had. The EVC is there since version 6 also, even for 5.5 also. But VM level enhanced compatibility, it was a newer version in 6.7. 1 minute, I'm just looking for some screenshots. I had a couple of screenshots which talked about some good features.
Okay.
I did to miss that somewhere. I had it. Okay, anyways, so that is like there is some option called virtualization based security, VBS. Okay, that is a very good option in the latest version. Some of the companies are taking downtime to enable it. I just thought of showing you guys. Even in my couple of the accounts, we were doing it recently. So VBS is an option you can enable. I'll show you that when we talk about virtual machines later. Okay, so there is something called VBS, virtualization based security on your virtual machine level. Okay, VBS option. This is for your VM. Okay, virtualization based security on your VM level. You can enable it. And also, like, there are some trusted authority concept. Okay, so only when the VMware product trusts it, you can use it. And I think in version 7, if you're from an Active Directory background, even ADFS is integrated. Okay, that is one of the thing that one of my account people are discussing, and they want to use ADFS based authentication to have cross federation between the on-premises and cloud environment. Okay, 1 minute, guys. I'll turn on the quiet hours. Okay, so yeah, so those things have come. And also, as you guys might know, like now VMware is shifting gears towards containerization, right? So they have app virtualization, containerization, they have supports for Tanzu. Okay, I'll explain what exactly is containerization, Tanzu, and those things. I'll explain for 2-3 hours about it, so that you get some better information about it. For now, for today, okay, the objective is that, okay, you have to understand the different approach that you have to take for the ESXi troubleshooting. That is the most important topic today. And for the experienced guys, for the senior guys, you have to understand what are the different variant you are getting for licensing angle. Okay, so you have for your remote site, you can purchase these two things. And for your data center site, if you are forming a HPC cluster, some people will not have workload on the same cluster. For example, some account, they also have separate database cluster. Okay, so they have some separate business tier cluster. Okay, so they don't want to mix the workload, because there is a licensing difference between your database VM and your regular VM, right? So what they do is they create a separate vSphere cluster for your database systems. They create a separate cluster for your high performance workload. They create a separate workload for your business tier, and they also create a separate cluster for your management system, like your jump station, like your OneView, or like your regular appliance system. They have this management cluster also. So they will have 3 to 4 different cluster based on the type of workload, to avoid any licensing issues on the database level, or your high performance computing level, or your management might be for your support team only, operations team only. They don't want to mix and match the licensing and spend unwanted licensing for the management cluster. See, for example, you can run management on a very lesser thing, right? So we can run something on a standard also for your management thing. Only business thing need advanced level features. For your regular routine thing like management cluster and your non-production workload, you can invest less and then pay for it. Sometimes, like for the management, it might be the support organization that will be investing, like your IBM or HP. They might invest in licensing for your management, and they will cross charge it to the customer. Okay, so obviously there will be different clusters. Okay, I'll tell you what exactly is cluster, what is business tier, and those things, but I just want to give a heads up. Okay, and also you can purchase vSphere separately, vCenter separately. And when you go for vCenter, there is a lot of differences where you have to think about what features your company needs, and then based on that, you have to purchase the respective product. Okay, so any doubts, guys? Okay, so we are on top of the hour now. Okay, so yeah,
Jay, are you connect to home lab currently?
I can power it on. Yeah, what do you want to do?
No, actually, just I want to know the power options. Like we have guest to OS option and guest restart and normal restart, right? That's
So
why
you want to check the
difference.
quick boot option?
Yeah, quick boot option actually.
I'll show you. I'll show you that. Okay, so yeah, I'll show you when I power on the lab. And so as of now, what you have any questions on the licensing and the ESXi troubleshooting? Any questions on today's